Hi, this is Susan. Welcome to my spring room box. This is part 2. If you have not seen how this is constructed, you want to go back to part 1. This is using a thrifted frame. This was dark gold to begin with, and you can see that in part 1. And this is using DollarTree signs. So any craft store that has placards and signs, I show you how to use those. And the glass is meant to go back in the front, and this has a flap on the back to show you how to enter through the back. And so part 1 explains all that and shows you how to make it. So we've put a light on. In the video I show you how to do the coin lights, if you want to go back into my videos. And these are 3 volt, so they're not terribly bright. It's just a little bit of light. I did try, show you in the video how I made this light. And I used some trash plastic up in the light here to try to hold the light in because of the design of the light with the trim. It was going outward, and it really doesn't give it a whole lot more light. These are 3 volts is not much. Regular house dollhouse current is 12 volts. So you can get a 9 volt battery that you'd put into a smoke detector, those little rectangles, and you could try doing that and playing around with it. Now here's what it looks like. This part's a Christmas light, and I'm sure you've seen these. And so I was trying to stay with the translucent. These do come in white or maybe other colors, maybe dark. And I'm using the heat shrink tubing from Heat Shrink Buddy. So go back to the video of the lighting. There's a couple of different ones of working lights. Using the coin or using the double A's that are fairy lights. Anyway, so you can see that. So before you hook this up, you need to go up through, drill a hole, go up through there, and bring the light wires up here, and then connect them at the top. And if you have extra paper, you could cover this. Take a little strip and cover that. I didn't have a single bit of paper left. I did use a little bit to hold the ribbon down to cover up where I glued the ribbons in the back. And that was all I had. Okay, so I'm using these bright colors, and let me tell you why. I mixed the green with the yellow to get kind of an olive. And so these colors, the reason for this is we talk about using, the Waverly dark wax. We talk about using that to age things. Well, excuse me, I've got allergies, so I'm trying to get through this. But we don't talk about doing a whitewash. So that's what I did here, is I put these very vibrant colors on. And when you do a whitewash, I used this wonderful, this is so good, you'll really like this if you get it, Waverly chalk in the plaster color. I have used this whole bottle and need more. I just dipped into this and did just a dry brushing over, and it looked like a hot mess before that. This was just so splotchy. It looks like a kid painted it. It was so bright. And, because I had the green, then I had the pink around, and the flowers, and the blue on the sides, and it was just a hot mess. And when you put that dry brushing, it just blends everything so lovely to a pastel. You can just see how soft. It really is amazing. It's just amazing. So you want to try this, and it's really good for signs as well. If you make bigger crafts and make signs, that it'll do that with signs. When you're writing the lettering, it kind of stands out from just a blank white background or whatever. And if you put flowers or something, but then you do a whitewash over it, and it just blends everything so nicely. And then you can antique, faux antique the edges and age it. So we're going to start filling up our box. Now I put this little, let's see if you can see. I went ahead and put this little shelf in here because I had to push so hard with the putty. I'm using the the fun tack. And I'm going to show you how this is made. Now, I did a popsicle sticks for the floor. And I put like a golden color. And it looked too bright for my chairs. So I went back in with brown and put streaks. And then I just wet a cloth and kind of went over it, washed over it with that damp cloth. And it kind of blended to make it look like it was also not a new floor. So that worked out nice. So let me reset things so we'll be able to see everything as we put the things in. Okay, so the first thing you saw was this chest was an unfinished little chest. I dropped something. I had an unfinished chest in part 1. It was something from Michael's from many, many years ago. And it was literally this unfinished color. And I like to go in with a burnt umber first. And do the first coat of burnt umber when you're making wood look like wood. And then I like to streak it with just this brown. It's just a Craftsman Smart. I think this is just a Hobby Lobby brown. But it has a little tint of red into it, so I like that. And then it was beautiful, and it was just too dark for this light pastel color scheme. So I went back in and used dry brush of this honey brown. And I really recommend this honey brown. I've used it a lot lately. And so I went back in with it. And then I still thought it needed to come up a little bit in color, so I put this golden straw, which I like it too, and it's really just a golden color with a little bit of brown in it so that it's not so vibrant. Let me show you the back. You can really see the color streaks because it was beautiful dark, but it needed to be lighter for this color scheme. So you can see the streaks where I was playing around with getting it back up lighter color. Of course, I could have stained it, I guess, if I'd had stain, but I don't have any of the gel stain. I need to, if y'all use a good brand of gel stain, please let me know what brand that is. So I put paper in here, little, craft paper, just cut it and put it in, and I put the trash plastic in the doors. It didn't really look like they would fit, and I didn't want to pull the shelves out, rip them out and all that. So I was trying it, and it actually did work. They did fit in there because they're so thin. So the one thing I want to say, I'm using glue dots to put the toys in. Even though I Mod Podged 2 layers, it still will separate the paper if you pull them back out. So don't use permanent glue dots. I don't know about the wax. It doesn't work in our climate because it's so warm here. It's, we have months of 100-degree heat. So things will come loose, but glue dots work great, but you might want the semi-permanent. And definitely Mod Podge your shelves. So anyway, let's add some more toys. Finish our toys, and then we'll put this in. And I've got the glue dots on them, so they're sticking to my fingers. So we have a little chick. I love these little chicks. I think they're so cute. Let's get a little sailboat going there. And I've got a little rocking chair. And I had used so many of my toys in my Christmas room boxes. I have a store and I have a memory box. I didn't think I had enough toys to go in here, but then I found I've got Little Red Riding Hood. I made the book up. Just the plain pages, but just copied it and made that up. So you can make little books and toys. Whoops. Don't have a glue dot on it. I'm just going to stick it in here. She probably wants to read it at the tea party. Now, these are really cute. These are, I didn't make these, but you can certainly make them. These are maracas, and it's just a toothpick handle and some really fancy gold streaked beads. And then I tied a silk ribbon to it. Isn't that cute? Maracas. Now, I know I was banging around on the maracas and the castanets when I was a kid. So definitely want to put those in here and add those to this. So let's see if we can get them to stick down. Okay, so we could close this up, but I'm going to leave it open so that we can see all the color. And we'll put that towards the back. And I'm going to show you everything after we get it all filled up. And so I did a video on how to make this wreath. This is an Easter wreath using beads, and it has the little hangers, the way that Christmas ornaments have hangers, and the silk ribbon. So go to that video and it tells you how to do this to get the best result. Okay, so we're going to put that on the side. And I said I would show you about the shelf. Now I did a shelf video using these wonderful Temu little corbels or brackets, whichever you prefer to call them. And this is my newest design. Let me get a piece to show you. And I went on eBay and I was pricing these, and oh my gosh, this is an amazing price through Temu for these. If you're not a Temu orderer, this might make you break down and want to buy. But I just buy directly off my website. I don't go through the app and all that. I'm not sure about that. So I know they're always offering you something free and whatever, but I think, you know what they say, nothing's free in life. So did you get like 50 of these? And it's not very expensive. It's under $4, $3 something, and you only get 4 for $5 plus the shipping. So anyway, I wish they'd make more. So this was in my video of shelving. This was one of the shelves I made using these. And there's other shelves as well and other styles. But this is the corner curio cabinet or shelf. I keep calling it a cabinet for some reason. Don't know. Okay, so here, this one has 5 pieces and it's in a round. So if you'll take your craft wood and just kind of draw yourself a half round, then you can go ahead and glue them on and it'll give you an idea, or you can set them out and it'll give you the idea of how big you want to have the round come out. But real simple, but turns out really lovely when it's painted. And I have so many thoughts in my head about using these. They're so great. If anybody's someone who has the cutter, the laser cutter, oh my gosh, I think this is what you ought to make is the corbels and brackets and sell those, because there's just so many wonderful uses for them. Okay, so I wanted to have some balloons for my fun. So I just got a piece of trash top to put, and I put putty in it to weigh these down to get them to stand up straight and, not too big. So we'll put that in there. And I've got the sweetest little plates that were in my stash. And look at these little plates. They look like they're from the story of Heidi, because there's a little girl with a lamb, and here's a little boy, it looks like, with a goat, a little child, and this little boy's wearing lederhosen like he's in the Swiss Alps. So maybe these are meant to be from Heidi. They're made in Japan, but they're just adorable. So that's why I made this shelf, was to be able to put these children plates up here. And I just put them on a strip of putty. You could take wire and craft a little stand with some wire, soft wire. But the putty held them just a strip. Okay, so another one of my videos has a table. And so you've seen this, the trash to treasure table, and with the fabric and the folds. this in the video if you haven't ever made one, want to know how to make it. And it's funny because I could not think of what I used in this to make this. And I just kept thinking and thinking, and here it is. I made meatloaf. It's the breadcrumb container. Has a metal bottom and cardboard sides. So if you make meatloaf, you might have this. But that's what I used. But you can use a can and put cardboard rounds to raise it up to the height you want. So you want to put your chairs next to it to get your height. So I had this little adorable little bunny fabric. That's what I used in the skirting. But it is so cute. You could use it in the children's room, anywhere. Any of the little animal prints. So we've started a tea party, and I've showed you this before, these little charms. This is all glued together, and you get this at Hobby Lobby, and it even has a little spoon on it. It has the macarons, the little tea. So cute. And I was going to fill up this teapot with tea, but the spout doesn't have a hole in it. What's that about? How can you have a teapot without a hole to pour? I don't know. But I've had that forever. That was like my first tea sets. So I thought I'd put that in there. And of course we need to have a cake stand because we need a tea cake. Oh, we got a tea cake. Here it is. Cute little tea cake. Just a little square, small one. Put that on there. And this box is interesting. You can print these online. I guess this came online. I don't know if this was a gift or something. But if you look at the design of it, I actually cut one out in cardboard. I just went around and got the idea of this design because you could use it in so many things. So it's an interesting design. It just folds up, folds in, and with this slit right here, you just put these into the sides and you can glue them or tape them. But really good design for cake or for packages, anything. Okay, so let's get our chairs. Now I showed you in a furniture haul my new chairs. I wish I could take her off of there, but she is got a thread holding her in place because she started falling off of there. Her legs have to be spread because you can't put them under the table. So I put the thread to hold her in place. Now she's a dolly from Aztec Distributes Town Square Miniatures. And so that's what she is. I haven't used her and had her for many years, but I know that there's a lot of their dolls in the porcelain. So this is distributed from Aztec. I just got these chairs from Miniature Crush, and then they had dolls as well. So they're out there on eBay and through the .com, miniaturecrush.com. And I think there's a mini crush. There's a lot of sellers on eBay that sell porcelain dolls. And I have a haul of dolls, and there's some dolls in there too. Some little girls. Okay, so this was a Christmas ornament, and you might recognize this little Russian-looking doll here. These were these little wooden ornaments that went on our tree that had little half dolls, or half pieces sitting in them. There was like little cars and planes, and so I had to put a bead on the bottom of her because she really only goes halfway down. But she had such a cute little sweet face. See, her little cheeks have pink on them. Very Russian looking. Remind me of the Russian nesting dolls. And they have those on eBay too. I was looking at those. They're to get the smallest size. And I may go back. They were very reasonable. I mean, I think because of this stuff with Russia. They were really reasonable. But they're so pretty. But I had a set, and then what happens is the lacquer it's like glue. They just bond, and then you can't open it anymore. So be wary of that, that it stays in really nice climate controlled, that your lacquer doesn't bond to where you can't open it. to get to the smaller ones. So, okay, let's put her in her arms. You can see we're putting together a tea party, and she's got her friends coming to her tea party. So let's see. We've got her puppy. Let's put this chair. Oh, let me show you the chairs. Okay, so I showed you these in the haul. They were just unfinished, and I got them from miniaturecrush.com or on eBay. And then they have a coupon right now till the end of the month at the .com. And these are, I used this golden straw. I really like these Americanas. They're deco art. I used this, and then I thought it still needed to be a little bit lighter, so I just did a wash of this bright yellow. Just a real faint wash over the golden straw, just to add color. And then I went back in and very lightly put brown at the angle, at the edges and things. So very lightly, because you don't want to change the color. Make sure you let it dry really well. So I used the calicos, just these 2 calicos, for the little chairs, seats. And let me tell you how, if you just bring these out and try to tie them, they're way too bulky. So what I did was I wrapped it around and stuck it back in the seat, and then made little ties and tried to sew them together, and then glued them on. And that was the least bulky way I could do a tie. Okay, so let's put the little, sweet, isn't he so cute? He just looks like, I'm just waiting. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do. In this little basket, this little fabric. It's just the cutest little puppy face. Makes you just want to smell him. Puppies are so adorable, and they have such a cute smell until they get to be big dogs. Like babies. So here's her big teddy bear. Let's put Teddy in here. Okay, so we had to make him a vest. He was just plain. He didn't have any clothes on, but he had to have something special for the party. So let me show you quickly how that's made. You take your bear or your toy, whatever, stuffed toy, and I did cardstock, and I just drew around. Now, if you're familiar with what a pattern piece looks like, this would be a lot easier for you. And you need to come in and make an extra line around it, because you need to turn that under to glue. Okay, so we need the vest. So we need 2 pieces of this, and then 1 piece of the full thing for the back. And then you glue them together at the points, and then glue everything under. And then I just used little black beads and some black ribbon. But turns out fine. It's pretty simple. If you don't know how to make a pattern, then take a cotton blouse of your own, or a guy's shirt, turn it inside out, and then it'll give you the idea of how it's constructed. But he looks really sweet. So let's set up Mr. Bear. Okay, so we got Miss Bunny on Temu. And she is so sweet, but she was so crooked. Everything about her was crooked. So I had to take her apart to glue her together. And then I put a big silk ribbon to give her something. Since she didn't have a clothes, she didn't really... I was going to do a tutu, but I didn't have any netting, pink netting. I couldn't find it. But I'll find it eventually, and I'll do her a little tutu or something. But I don't know what tub I have it in. So, our little girl, it wouldn't be Easter without an Easter hat. So this is just out of straw, one of those little straw hats. And has just little trims, little lace, some ribbons down the back, and little flowerette. Now I'm just going to stick this with glue dots. I'm going to stick it on the wall over here, and I'll show this to you. I'll show all this to you better at the end. Okay, I have a little bag. It's like a little shopping bag. It has a bunny mom and little baby bunnies, but they have like the faces of like monkeys, but maybe they're little lambs. I don't know. But if you put some beads down in the bottom, something heavy, you know, then you'll always be happy that you did that before you glue the tissue in, because then it'll stay put and stand up straight. Okay, here's my little, I wanted to do this for my little wreath, the flower wreath. You know how they put them in the hair? I wanted to put it in the little bunny's hair, but it covered up the eyes. So I'll show you how this was made. It's just this, I just love those. They give them out at, you know, they sell them at the festivals. So here's how I made this. This is, you can either just do a plain, but come out so it has something to stick the flowers onto. Don't just do a round, because the round they'll just teeter on there. This, I was trying to do vines, and I was using this jewelry tool that's smooth with the cone shape on it, and I was twirling that, trying to do a vine shape, and you can paint this brown. And then I took some flocking and put flocking in between, and the flocking got hard and it just didn't look that pretty. So I went ahead and used these Paper Studio. I've used them in the other builds. I just cut them smaller, which was just pretty easy. It wasn't that hard to just use your cuticle scissors and cut around it, and then just glue them on. And the fact that I had put the flocking on the back, let me just go ahead and show you. Since I had put that on the back, it gave it a platform for the flowers to sit on, to glue onto, so they didn't teeter and fall, you know, fall to the sides and all. So you have to think about that before you know, just glue them on. They've got to have some way to stay put. And I had used super glue to put that flocking on, and it got hard, but then that's what the flowers stuck to, so that's good. Okay, so here's a little Easter basket. We want to put that in there. Got a little bunny in the middle and some chocolates and Easter eggs, shiny eggs, and little tiny flowers. See if you can see everything that's in it. Now, look at the sides. You want to take like your Sharpie marker and go along the weave with your different colors, and then around the edge, maybe a yellow, just one color, and then before you put anything in it, Mod Podge it so it seals up those paints. And that just makes it look even prettier, more festive. Okay, so let's decorate our table. Now I've made some petit fours, little cookies, and you might have a cookie punch. It's a little flower punch, but I did a video of how to make the petit fours in the little trash plastic. So if you want to go back to that, it's a Valentine video. And this is what we ended up making. And we painted the little cookies and decorated it. So you can go back to that video. Now here's the, you know, here's my stash of the flowers, the flowered shaped cookies. And I actually took, when I didn't have a punch, I actually took a soda can and shaped a punch out of the soda can. Okay, so for Easter I have this little bitty chick. Looks like she's singing or calling out. She's cute. And you could put her in a basket if you had. She's holding flowers. She's a little bitty thing. But you could put her in a basket. But let's put her on the table for Easter. Let's see. Do we have everybody's? Oh, no, we don't. We need a honey pot. Here we go. Little honey pot for our little bear. And this was made, I made this with resin, you know, the 2-part resin. And let me show you, I just cut this down from a roller that was kind of small. So we'd have something to drizzle the honey out of there. Let's give him his honey pot. So I want to show you the colors I used. And I just love, I tell you this every time, I love those resin pigments that they have on Temu. And what I used was a drop of the orange, a drop of what they call coffee, 2 drops of this opaque yellow, and 2 drops of the translucent golden yellow. And that's where it came to exactly the color of honey. So I just love those. You'll have to get those on Temu. They're a little box of pigments. And I haven't tried the quick dry. I think it'd work the same if you have the quick dry or the overnight dry resin. What I had left over, I put into a jar, and I put a bead on the end of the toothpick so that I'd have the drizzler. I'm not sure what that's called, if anybody knows what it's called, that goes in there. So it's a good use of your leftover. Okay, so do we have everybody's got a treat for their tea party? Let's see. Well, no, Puppy doesn't. Oh, Puppy needs a treat. Puppy gets a bone. Made out of clay, and then you just wash a little bit of brown beige over it. Yes. Puppy needs a bone. So, let's see. We got everything now? Let me show you everything. Doesn't it seem like you just want to get in this tea party? I want to come to the tea party. I love tea parties. If you haven't subscribed, I'd appreciate if you would think about subscribing. I'm going to put out my dollhouse next. I keep saying it, but I'm absolutely going to do it. The problem I've had with lighting, so we're just going to have to circumvent the problem. So here we are. It's springtime. Happy spring. Happy Easter. Thank you for coming and viewing this room box. Go to part 1 if you haven't seen it and want to do this. It's just a great use of a thrifted frame. So thank you for coming by. Bye-bye.